Eating healthy and doing so consistently when you are busy and life feels crazy can certainly be a challenge, and I have learned that doing a little bit of planning and prepping ahead of time can make this go so much more smoothly. We are just coming off a week of vacationing at the beach where we were definitely off of our normal routines, eating lots of things we wouldn't normally. We enjoyed ourselves very much and it was such a great time, but I am very much looking forward to getting back into the swing of our normal rhythms and eating lots of nourishing food, because that's truly how we feel our best. So if you guys want to see how I do some prep work ahead of time to actually make healthy eating doable, let's dive right in. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be bringing you into my kitchen and bringing you along with me as I prep for a week of healthy eating. If you guys are new to my channel, my name is Becca. I'm a mom of 4. I'm also a registered dietitian. I'm very passionate about feeding myself and my family real whole food, but I also know the struggle of how tough that can be when you are busy and you have a million things on your plate, no pun intended. And I have found that the key to being able to pull this off consistency is to do some planning ahead of time. You know what they say, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And I am big on doing a little bit of work up front so that I can actually make my weeks go smoother and actually do the things I'm trying to do. And in this case, it is feeding my family real food. I am also all about efficiency, so I try and knock out like one task at one time, if that makes sense. So for example, when it comes to looking at our week of trying to eat healthy, mostly homemade food, I try and do all of the thought ahead of time. So for example, I know pretty much we're going to eat the same few breakfasts every week. We love just scrambled eggs and toast. We're getting tons of eggs from our chickens right now. We love a Dutch baby. I have that recipe here on my channel, like a healthier version that I shared years ago. It's so many of you, it's become a favorite for so many of you. It's also a favorite for us here in our house. We'll do oatmeal or pancakes on the weekend. We basically rotate through the same few things. So I always know kind of what we're gonna have for breakfast, and it's really easy to keep stocked up on the ingredients we need to make those meals. As far as lunch goes, every week I like to pick 1 or 2 things, mostly like something that's high protein, to make ahead of time that we can eat throughout the week. And we'll use that as a base for meals so that we can make like protein packed but also filling meals. So we'll just add some stuff to it, which I'll talk a little bit more about later in the video. And then we'll also eat leftovers from dinner depending on what we have and how much we had left over. I also like to make some more like quick grab or snack items ahead of time for the week so that they're just in the fridge, they're ready to go, and we can easily reach for like a healthy option that I've already thought through ahead of time and know that is going to be balanced and have, you know, like protein and fat to actually fuel us and keep us full. And then of course we have our dinners. So I typically like to plan dinners out ahead of time as well. I have actually been experimenting a little bit, kind of trying to like challenge myself and push myself with foregoing a plan and just using what we have on hand. Most of the time when I do that, I just feel like I'm floundering and all the meals I make are just like thrown together and they're not good. Like I like good food. So I wanna make sure that I'm actually making things that are delicious and satisfying. And so much of the time when I forgo the plan, that does not happen. But I have been challenging myself a little bit in this area. But typically my default is always just plan out ahead of time, do all the thought at once, either on like a Sunday or a Monday morning, and just figure out all the dinners we're going to have. If I want to be like flexible and switch something up, I totally can, but I like to know like, okay, we have the ingredients to make these meals. I don't have to think about it every day. I don't have to be creative every day. And all that thought is done ahead of time. And I always write down our dinner ideas up on a little chalkboard in my kitchen. You could do this on a Post-it note and stick it on a cabinet, write it down in a notebook, basically just somewhere where you're going to see it. I have learned is so helpful for me because I will literally forget what I planned. But then also if any of my meals require maybe like feeding the sourdough starter and starting something the night before, or pulling out, you know, like a whole chicken to defrost that takes days, it's nice to know ahead of time and really always have it in my mind what we're going to eat. So that way I can actually stay on top of it and make sure that I actually execute the meals. Now I do plan out my meals, but I don't always follow them exactly. Maybe we have a busy day and I don't have quite enough time allotted to make the meal I had planned for, or maybe we're just not in the mood for that. We just want something else. So I do have some flexibility like with what I cook, and I feel like I'm able to do that because I always have all of the basic like essentials for cooking simple meals stocked. If you have the basics on hand always to make basic meals, you really can make meals pretty simply and it becomes something that's not overwhelming. And being flexible or cooking on the fly is really not that difficult, but you have to have that stocked pantry. You have to have those basic essentials on hand so that you can sub things in and out and have that flexibility. And one of my favorite ways, hands down, to keep my pantry stocked is Thrive Market. You guys know I love Thrive. I've been using them for years. I love their Thrive Market brand. I love all of like the healthy organic options you'd find at the health food store that they have, but less expensive. I just got my most recent Thrive order in, so I'm gonna show you guys what I got. Okay, so I've got my Thrive order here, so I'm gonna share with you guys everything that I picked up in this one. So first I wanted to go through some of my most like basic essentials that I always get. One, peanut butter. I love this peanut butter. It's obviously organic, but the most important thing is it's just peanuts. When you're looking at ingredients for peanut butter, you don't want anything besides peanuts, and then also maybe salt. And a little tip, if you have a hard time like mixing it up, just store them upside down like this. And then when you go to actually stir it up, it's not difficult at all. It's actually super easy. Okay, and then also their honey. This is their organic, raw, unfiltered honey. This is my favorite honey that I've ever tried. I feel like I don't get like excited about honey, but I get excited about this one because one, it just tastes so good. And just the consistency of it, it's very easy to like scoop out and work with. And if you're using it to make a lot of different things, that actually really makes a difference. So I love their honey. This is like my absolute favorite one. Olive oil, extra virgin olive oil. This is a staple, I feel like, in anybody's kitchen. And it's something that I use in a lot of different things that I make. So always have olive oil on hand. Another staple is their vanilla extract. This is also organic, and this is probably my favorite store-bought one. You can also make it yourself, but if I'm gonna buy it from the store, I do really love the one from Thrive. Okay, and then I got a big bag of their grass-fed collagen. I love using plain collagen in like baked goods, or really anything that I want to add protein to, but I don't want to alter the flavor or really like the taste of it. So that's one of my favorite reasons to use collagen, and I always just get the unflavored one because that is what I'm looking for, because I want to be able to add it to things and not be able to taste it, if that makes sense, because I don't love the taste of protein powder. So if I'm adding it to like for example, when I'm gonna make muffins a little bit later, I'll show you guys. I love adding this because it doesn't make the muffins taste like protein powder, you know what I mean? It just adds some protein, which is awesome. I also got this is the brand Noble Made. This is their barbecue sauce. And one of the reasons I love Thrive so much is because they have a lot of like condiments that are made with like higher quality ingredients. And if you're gonna buy those from the store, they're typically like very expensive. You're gonna spend a lot of money on them. So I always, if I'm gonna get like ready-made, like ranch dressing I love, or buffalo sauce I get from there, or barbecue sauce, things like that, that I don't want just like the standard ones that you're gonna find in the store, because I want higher quality ingredients and like higher quality oils used in them. This is where I like to get them. And another thing with barbecue sauce, like just to note, is they can be incredibly high in sugar. And I have tried, I feel like, a lot of different barbecue sauces, and the ones that are much lower in sugar still taste really good and still taste sweet. Like you really don't need all that extra sugar, in my opinion. So this one for 2 tablespoons has only 3 grams of sugar, which is actually probably one of the lower ones that I've seen. But some of them are crazy high per serving. So just something to note. I'm not against sugar by any means, but like if I'm gonna eat sugar, like I want to eat like a cookie, you know what I mean? Like I don't necessarily need a ton of extra sugar in my barbecue sauce. As long as it tastes a little bit sweet and has good flavor, that's all I need. I also got a bottle of just this pure lemon juice. because I feel like a lot of different recipes, especially in the summertime, that I'm making call for lemon juice. And I always keep lemons in the fridge so that I, can do like a fresh squeezed lemon juice when possible. But sometimes it's just easier to have something like this. And sometimes you're just in a season where you're like, yep, I'll take the pre-made bottle. It might not taste exactly the same, but it's gonna taste good enough. And then lastly, I got some of their beans. I love these like packaged beans that they sell because they also have dried beans, which you can get. And I'm just terrible at remembering to cook beans before I need to use them. They're very easy to cook in the Instant Pot, and you can buy big bags of dried beans from Thrive as well. But like I said, I just am kind of, I'm just not in the habit of doing it, so I often forget, and then I go to make something and I'm like, I have no beans. If you are new to Thrive Market, they're an online membership-based grocery store that gives you guaranteed savings on every single order. On this order alone, I saved around $50 compared to if I had gone to the store to buy all these things, which is amazing. And pretty much everything they carry is healthier, mostly organic options, sustainable options, basically just foods that have higher quality ingredients, and you're just gonna spend less there than you would if you were to go to your local store. I love that you can do all of your shopping online. I love that you can look at the ingredients of everything online because that can be tough to do when you're in the store, if it's busy or if you've got kids with you. I also just love the Thrive Market brand. They have so much good stuff. And anytime you're buying like a store brand, you're always gonna pay less. And it comes to your door. I mean, you just can't beat that. There are other ways to buy, healthy foods at lower costs, but it involves going to a store or going to a pickup. I mean, it just doesn't get any easier. So for the membership part of it, you can choose month to month, or you can also do an annual membership. They do price matching and cash back. They also do free shipping over $49. They're always adding new products, which is really fun. And I also just love like the filters they have on their website. So whether you're looking for like gluten-free or vegan or whatever, you can just easily search on the website. I particularly love the buy again section. That's what I use the most because it just easily pulls up everything that I already love and buy from there, because a lot of times I forget what I buy, but I know that there are like some gems in there that I'm going to reorder. Thrive Market is just such a solid option when it comes to buying healthy groceries. And whether you're just trying to spend less on healthy groceries, which I mean, who isn't nowadays? Prices are insane. Maybe you just don't even have access to like a health food store that would have these higher quality options. Or maybe you just want like the convenience of it being shipped right to your door. You don't even have to go out or do a pickup. I just know that you guys will love Thrive Market if you haven't tried it yet. And if you haven't, you can click the link in my description box, or you can just go to thrivemarket.com/Becca Bristow and you'll get 30% off your first order, plus a free gift worth up to $60 if you join today. And their biggest sale of the summer is going on right now. So there's truly not a better time to get started if you've been thinking about it. You can save on like thousands of their top products with using my link to get 30% off your first order. Now let's get started using all this goodness so I can show you guys how I actually set myself up for a week of healthy eating. All right, so the very first thing I'm gonna be making for this week is actually popsicles. I have been wanting to make these. It's been on my list all summer because one, I feel like they're really easy. Two, I feel like it's an easy way to get extra nutrients into kids. And three, my kids love popsicles. They're never gonna turn down a popsicle. Now that it's hot outside, they basically want popsicles every single day. And they really are so easy to make. It's basically making a smoothie and then you just pour it into the popsicle molds. So I found a recipe online that I will link down below. That's the one that I'm following this time. But basically you just throw everything in a blender. So a bunch of frozen berries, which are not only sweet and delicious, but they are super high in fiber, which is a great thing to get, I mean, really for anyone to eat, but I always am trying to get fiber into my kids. Yogurt, I use just my homemade plain yogurt I make in my Instant Pot, and it is rich in calcium. It's got protein in there, vitamin D, vitamin A, of course it's probiotic rich, so a very nutrient dense thing to add to popsicles. And then to flavor and sweeten them up, honey, which I absolutely love the honey from Thrive. It's truly like the best honey I've ever tried as far as like a raw one goes. And then a little bit of vanilla and also a little bit of lemon juice to add a little tart kick. So you basically just blend that all up. And what's kind of fun about this is you could even like double the batch and make smoothies for everybody and then freeze the other half to make popsicles. You could totally get like two, snacks essentially out of this for one round of effort. But then you just pour that fruit mixture into the popsicle molds. I got these on Amazon. They come with a bunch of sticks and it's super easy to use. And then you just pop them in the freezer until they're totally set, and they come out these just beautiful, fruity, kind of creamy popsicles that not only you know your kids are gonna like because they're fruity and they're sweet, but also they're so nutrient dense. You could even get even trickier here and like add some, like sneak some supplements in there if you really wanted to really boost the nutritional impact. But these are such an easy thing to make and something that kids really love, and like why not do that over just the store-bought version. The next thing I'm making has been a go-to favorite of ours recently. I discovered this recipe not too long ago and we've been making it on repeat. I like them for myself. My kids also love them. And that is these little protein peanut butter chocolate chip muffins. Also super easy because you literally, just like the popsicles, throw everything in the blender. Again, I'll link this exact recipe down below, but you throw bananas, a bunch of peanut butter, a couple of eggs, honey, and also vanilla to add more sweetness on top of the bananas, a little bit of baking powder, a little bit of salt, and then you add in your protein powder. And I'm just using plain collagen. I love plain collagen for this reason because you can add protein to literally anything, but it doesn't affect the taste. I don't love the taste of protein powders like in baked goods. Like I don't mind a protein shake, but I just prefer, if I'm gonna make something, some kind of food item, I am always gonna pick like the unflavored collagen because it will add so much protein, but it's not going to adjust the flavor at all. So you basically just blend that all up into a batter, and once it's blended, you go ahead and add the chocolate chips. I love these little mini dark chocolate chips. Dark chocolate has more antioxidants over milk chocolate, usually has less sugar too. So that's always nice. And so I put all those in, then we pour it into the muffin tins. I typically like to use the paper cup, so I'm not pouring right onto like the nonstick, but I was out of them, so I just sprayed them down with avocado oil. And then we like sprinkled a few more chocolate chips on top. So good. And then you just bake them. Bake them for like 12 to 14 minutes at 450 degrees, basically just until they're set. You can always stick a toothpick in there, make sure it comes out clean. But these are just the tastiest little morsels. They're so easy to give to my kids as a snack, but I know that they actually have some protein in there, so it's not just like a straight sweet carby thing that is gonna make them hungry in like 30 minutes. And I love them for myself too. I love these as like a quick grab morning snack. That morning time is always the toughest because it's when I am like going a million miles an hour trying to get all my work done when I have my like window to do so. And I just don't really want to stop to eat, but if I don't eat something, then I'm like shaky hungry by lunch, and that is not a good way to fuel your body, obviously. So I love these too. They're a hit in my whole household. Everybody loves them. They're so good. Another hit in my household when it comes to like a quick grab yet healthy snack is homemade hummus. You can totally buy hummus from the store, and there are great options at the store, but it is oftentimes a little bit cheaper to make yourself at home. And it's really easy. This is another just throw everything in the blender, super easy. You can also use a food processor for this if you have one of those. I will link the recipe that I like to follow for this as well, but you basically just dump some chickpeas, a little bit of tahini and some olive oil into your blender, and then just to add a little bit more flavor, you're going to add some lemon juice and some garlic and some salt. And then you basically just add enough water you need in order to make that smooth but like thick hummus consistency. And this is for just like a plain hummus. You can also obviously add in lots of things to make different flavors, to make it spicy, to make it more garlicky, whatever you like. But it's just so easy to dip crackers into that. That's usually what my kids like the most. I love dipping cucumbers into it. If we're feeling fancy, we might make some like pita bread or something, but typically it's just something quick that we can grab. So cucumber, slice it up real fast, crackers, that sort of thing. Next up, I am making a loaf of sourdough sandwich bread. I recently discovered the most amazing recipe that uses 100% fresh milled all whole wheat flour. I have tried making loaves before with this just all 100% whole wheat flour, and they always turn out just dense and they don't rise very well and they just aren't that great. And my kids don't really like it. So when I found this recipe, it completely changed the game. I will link it down below. It's from a blog, and the blogger actually has like an entire Facebook group as well, which is how I originally discovered her, all about using fresh milled flour. Anyway, but so it's hard white wheat that you mill fresh, obviously. And then to your stand mixer, you add some water, you add olive oil, honey, you could also use sugar, some salt, an egg, and then also 115 grams of starter. And her recipe has like all the exact measurements for you guys if you want to try it. Anyway, so you mix all of basically the liquids together, and then you add in slowly your fresh milled flour. And I'm using hard white wheat. Did I already say that? I can't remember. Anyway, so once you have everything all mixed together, it's basically like not a dough. It's so wet, it's not stretchy whatsoever. But the first thing you do is you let it sit for about 15 or so minutes to let the flour absorb some of the water. And then you come back and you knead it. And I obviously use my hand mixer for this because it's quite a bit of kneading. It depends on, your mixer, but mine takes like around 15 to maybe 20 minutes, and you basically just keep going until it really comes together into like a solid ball. And then I always do the window pane test, and I usually can get a window pane, which is how I know it's ready. And then I let it sit all night. Her recipe says not to do that, but I find that mine takes way longer to double in size than what her recipe states. So I just wait overnight, and then in the morning it's like nice and doubled and puffy, and I take it out. I like kind of roll it out into a rectangle on my counter and roll it into a loaf pan. I stick it in my loaf pan that I spray with avocado oil, and then I let it proof for like 1 to maybe even like 3 hours depending on the day. I kind of overproofed it a teeny bit, but that's okay. It still turned out fine. And then once it's proofed and billowy and fluffy like a pillow or like a marshmallow, you bake it. I do mine for about 55 minutes. She tells you to check the internal temperature, which I think is so smart because it's so much more reliable than just going off of time and how it looks on the outside. And it turns out so well. It rises so well. I cannot get over that this is made with completely like fresh milled whole wheat flour, and it slices up really well. It's great for sandwiches. It makes like a pretty fluffy, cushy whole wheat bread. It's not super dense. Again, you get a really good rise on it, and I am just wowed by this recipe. Again, I'll link it down below for you guys. It has completely changed the game for me. I have a whole video about all of the benefits of fresh milled flour and how it's far superior and kind of makes bread into a superfood, which is kind of amazing because most people enjoy eating bread. So if you can make it super nutritious, that is like a major win in my book, especially for my kids. And then lastly, I wanted to prep some kind of protein for the week. You guys know that that is always like one of the top things at my list to do as far as prepping ahead of time. So this week I decided to make a just like shredded barbecue chicken. I have, just cause I don't know, summertime and like barbecues, I've just been craving barbecue sauce. So I basically just put chicken breasts in my Instant Pot. I put about a cup of bone broth in there, which I just make myself. I've got a whole video on that. And then I'll add a little bit of salt and pepper, and then I just cook them as long as they're thawed. I do 12 minutes high pressure and let them cook. And then once they're all done, I let the pressure release for a little bit, and then I'll pour out most of the bone broth, because unfortunately it's just too, like, I would love to leave it in there for the benefits, but it's just too like soupy if you don't. So I pour off most of that. I leave a little bit behind so it stays like, so it doesn't get dry basically. And then the best hack ever, if you've never seen this, is just using a hand mixer. I like to just lay a towel over top of the Instant Pot so chicken's not like flying up and hitting me, or like the steam isn't like hitting my hands or in my face. But you just take your hand mixer and go to town, and it will shred up that chicken so fast. And then easy peasy. All I did was just add in the barbecue sauce I got from Thrive, mixed it all together, and that's barbecue chicken. I will just store that in the fridge, and then throughout the week, we can have this on top of rice. It's so quick to make rice in the Instant Pot. Or a lot of times I'll just do like the shredded chicken. I'll do like an avocado. and some sauerkraut, maybe put a little everything seasoning on the bagel, and that for me is lunch right there. If we have bread made or even like buns made, I've been making a lot of sourdough buns recently just to have for sandwiches. We can make quick sandwiches throughout the week, but basically if we add a little sauerkraut, a little fruit, it's just an easy, quick meal that's going to fill us up, but also be very nourishing at the same time. All right, you guys, so that is everything that I prepped for this week. I am very excited to just be getting back into the swing of things, eating real nourishing food that really just makes us feel our best. Remember, you can click the link in my description box or just go to thrivemarket.com/Becca Bristow, and that will give you 30% off your first order plus a free gift worth up to $60. And don't forget, Thrive has their biggest sale of the summer going on right now. So if you've been thinking about joining, now would be a really good time. But that is all I have for this video, or should I say that is all Davey and I have for this video. She's my little assistant today. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed watching it. Hope you got a little inspo for your week coming up. I hope you are leaving with some inspiration for some healthy foods to try, or even just to think a little bit more ahead and be a little bit more on top of things so that you can actually make healthy eating more doable. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.